Welcome, everybody. My name is Andrew David. This is the High Performance Call with Blake Newbar's team. You're watching live. Awesome. Welcome. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure that you say hello below, drop a comment, all that kind of fun stuff. And all you guys that are here, Forrest saying he's ready to launch, profile done, material ready. Good. Guys, how many of you guys over the course of the last 14 months, maybe even longer, have been suffering from, and maybe it's especially in the last few months, where you feel a little bit of burnout, where you have those days where you just go, there's too much. I'm frustrated. I don't want to do anything today. Not just with this, but just in general, right? Days are rolling into each other. You look up and the hours have just flown by. You don't know where they went. You're trying to figure out what you can do and how to keep yourself moving forward. That feeling of overwhelm happens to all of us at one point or another. And if you're brand new and you're getting ready to get going, it can be one of the biggest obstacles you ever face, a feeling of overwhelm. Okay. So yeah, in general, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. Hartley spent the birthday working, first time ever. Yeah. Been there. It wasn't until recently that I started to celebrate my birthday as an actual birthday and something special, and think about it, guys. How many of you guys have kind of done this? You've had a day or you kind of, it's a birthday or it's a holiday or it's the weekend that you told your spouse you were going to take some time off or you were going to do something and you just can't be present, and you justify it by saying, well, I've got all this work to do. And really, I'm doing it for the family, and I wish I could do X, Y, Z, and well, they'll understand. That adds up, and it adds up mentally and emotionally for us as well. And so what can you do to avoid burnout? And this is where you got to step in, and you really have to pay attention to who you are and what you're doing and what's going on day to day, and how to kind of make sure you pay attention to everything. So one of the most important things, guys, is you've got to, the way Brendan Burchard talks about it, and I've been talking about some of his stuff because I've been reading, a couple of his books lately and reading a few others. You've got to pay attention to how, I talked about last week, we talked about being a human being instead of simply a human doing. You've got to look at who you are and how you're acting and how you're behaving and how you're feeling throughout the day, and not just what's happening. Not just checking your boxes, as important as those boxes may be, and keeping yourself focused. How are you feeling throughout the day? What are you doing? What are you doing to actually feel present in that day? Okay. So one of the first things to do there, and they've done a study, some of the most highly effective people, highest ratio of success, and also people that have high levels of happiness, one of the most basic things that they do is they find a way to recharge consistently. And we're not just talking about going on vacation, right? That's something I know for me, and I've kind of learned over the years, and this comes from a time when I was doing clean and restoration. I was doing other things where I would work every single day, no matter what. And I would do it for a year on end. And many of us that are entrepreneurs, that's where you're at, and you never find time to unplug. So I've kind of figured out about every 60 to 90 days, I've got to take a weekend where I don't do anything. And maybe it's a staycation. Maybe it's something where I go away for a little bit. Maybe I just turn off all the electronics and I just kind of zone out and I allow myself to recharge. And maybe that's a weekend on the beach or something. Well, COVID happened and I wasn't able to do that. That happened for a lot of us. Some of you guys, the gym is your sanctuary. You weren't able to go do that. Sometimes it was just going out and walking. And in some places, you still can't even be on the streets doing anything. And so you're trying to figure out how to recharge. And this is what's important, is it's not simply those big moments where you recharge. It's daily and multiple times throughout the day. So the ratio that they did, or the study that they did with these highly successful people, they looked at how often that they were achieving, or they were finding a way to recharge. They said it was typically on average about every 52 minutes during their working day, every 52 minutes. Now, some of you guys have a job, and if you were to go in and tell your boss, hey, I'm going to take a break every 52 minutes, like every 50 minutes, I'm going to go away for a little bit. And they go, well, what are you talking about? You can't do that. Well, yeah, I can. I'm going to do this. Now, if you go in and you don't say anything and you're sitting at your computer and you're working, and that 50 minutes pops up, and you just step back and you go to the bathroom, you go take a walk, you go do something that allows you to recharge. Now, for me, what I try and do every single day, as many times as possible, because you guys know sometimes I have meetings back to back and it gets hard. But what I try and do is take just 5 minutes and I step away and I don't grab my phone, because grabbing your phone means you're looking at things, right? Some of you guys are, well, that's when I'm going to scroll on social media, or I'm going to listen to music, or you're going for a walk, but you're on the phone talking. That's not a break, and it's not allowing your brain to reset. So what I do, I just pop up and I've got some dumbbells back here. I've got some other ones. I've got something to stretch my back out. I'll just, pop up, grab the dumbbells, do 5 minutes. I'll swing my arms and spin, take deep breaths. Sometimes I'll kind of sit against the wall and try and meditate for a couple of minutes. I mean, something to just disconnect. So what I want you guys to work on today, one of these things, I need you to look at a way that you can take multiple breaks throughout the day, something to disconnect from what you're doing. I know some of you guys are long haul drivers, right? They tell you, hey, every so often you're required to do X. Then do it, right? Every 5 hours. Is that what you're saying, Sherman? They're saying every 5 hours?
8 hours.
8 hours? I know it's hard to do when you're all about like maintaining, a certain pace and you got to get somewhere. But guys, if you're able to unplug, stand up, jump in place, dance a little, take the deep breaths, whatever it is that works for you, and change it up throughout the day. So over the course of today, tomorrow, next couple of days, pay attention to what you're doing and what works best. During that time, find something that allows you to get away from the nonsense and just reset. When you come back, those 50 minutes become higher productivity levels. And so it makes up for, and then some, the time that you took off. Does that make sense for everybody? Right? When we talk about time management, those little things, you're going to be more productive doing that, especially when you've got, I talk about 1 to 3 hours that you're working on your business. If you're trying to do too many things and you don't separate it, you don't allow your brain to function. How many of you guys are trying to work this after your 9 to 5, after your family, and then kids go to bed? Now's the time that I'm going to work on it. And it's 8 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. That's the time when your brain is the most fatigued. Your willpower is fatigued. You're frustrated, and you're just physically and emotionally and mentally tired. If you can do it any other time, that's great. If you can't, and that's all you've got, that's fine too. Make sure, especially if you're doing it late at night like that, that you break it up. And if you're not going to do every 50 minutes, because that would mean, hey, I'm guaranteed I'm putting in 2 hours. What I recommend, if you're doing late at night like that, break it up into 30, 35-minute blocks. Do 30 minutes, intense, focused, focused practice, right? And then pop up and do something. Okay. Now, if energy is waning, if you're struggling with things, Curtis is saying lots of little wins, finish goals, mastermind group, vision board. There you go. Awesome. Now, if physically you're waning, here's one thing that you need to pay attention to. You need to sit down and you need to look at your last 72 hours, not just your last, what did I do today? Did I miss my coffee? Did I not, pay attention to your last 72-hour window. Normally, if you are going to be overly tired, if you're feeling maybe a little bit bloated, if your face is a little puffy because you've had too much sodium, you're not drinking enough water, so you're fatigued from that, a little dehydrated, all of those elements, it's a 72 to 96 hour buildup. It's not just something that happened yesterday, right? That's why they call it a cheat day. That's why you take a day off. We don't take 3, 4, 5 days off from our habits. In order to maintain momentum, you got to pause, reset, and get yourself back in, right? So look at your 72-hour window. One of the most important things along with that, guys, if you're looking to really eliminate this feeling of overwhelm, don't place the blame for overwhelm anywhere other than, don't blame it on family, don't blame it on government, don't blame it on COVID, don't blame it on work, don't blame it on any of that stuff. If you're feeling overwhelmed, and at the same time, don't put a sense of guilt on yourself for it. Put the overwhelm on an overactive drive to achieve, on a desire to achieve my goals, on, hey, I let my focus slide a little bit, but I'm in control. I'm pulling it back. Understand that overwhelm comes and goes, and you've got to be okay with it. If we blame other people, then it eliminates the power for us to take charge. Are you hearing me? If you're feeling overwhelmed and you put the feeling of overwhelm on an excuse of work, government, pandemic, family, whatever, that essentially means I cannot eliminate that overwhelmed feeling without their permission or their activity. And so I may have a simple fix that'll help me today, but tomorrow I'm still going to be upset about what my family is doing. Or I'm still going to be upset about what the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or my governor or your governor or this happening or that happening. If you can't focus that attention in, put that power into your own hands, then you're never going to get past it. Yeah, Curtis, don't be a victim. Absolutely. And some of us aren't looking at it as a victim. Some of us are simply saying, hey, this is just life, and I'm going to be overwhelmed. I'm all for working hard. Absolutely. But the amount of work that you can do if you're pushing yourself and you're controlling that flow of energy increases exponentially versus I'm just doing everything and I've wrapped up my day and I've gone through my day without feeling it. I've gone through my day without experiencing it. I've gone through it without any kind of control. I haven't put anything in my hand that allows me to take care of what I need to take care of. And so my energy just tapers off. If you're experiencing that taper at 2 or 3 o'clock every afternoon, or if you're struggling from 9:30 to 11 because your coffee hasn't kicked in, then it's not just the caffeine, guys. It's your overall approach to your day that's struggling. You're not hydrating enough. You're not getting enough fresh air, vitamin D. You're not moving around, bouncing enough. You're not taking your breaks when you should. Or you're putting the stress and overwhelm and everything else that's burying you underneath a pile of BS. You're putting the power to eliminate that in someone else's hands. And you can't do that. Overwhelm ends in paralysis sometimes and nothing gets done at all. It's important to get a handle on it. Absolutely. Totally agree. The more you allow it to build, the less you'll be able to do until you're just stuck. But you'll never be able to affect it if the power is always in someone else's hands. So eliminate the noise where you need to eliminate the noise. Bring it back into you. Start to feel your days a little bit more, guys. Bring some emotion, some life, some meaning, some purpose. Bring some of that back to your day. If I know why I'm doing it, it allows me to commit more. It allows me to push through what everybody else is trying to heap upon me. Yeah. Hey, Rick, I'm all about taking short naps. And if you guys aren't taking short naps, try it once in a while. Go sit in the car if you're at work. Hey, nothing wrong with that. I'm pretty sure all of us would enjoy a good nap once in a while. Just be controlled with it. On that note, guys, I just wanted to throw out a couple of things. I'm not trying to overwhelm you with information about overwhelm. I just want you to think a little bit about how you're spending your day. Take today, try to break it up into some blocks. I don't care where you spend that 50 minutes. Honestly, the amount of productivity you have during that time will depend on you. What you need to do is find ways to raise your energy for 5 minutes or so every hour. And I promise, and then look at how much more productive you are during everything else. And I promise it'll be beneficial. Okay. And Hartley, that's great. 5 hours of sleep at night, a couple of naps. Awesome. On that note, guys, understand who you are. Understand what you need. Go out, be the best versions of yourself. Rise up. Go be awesome. And on that note, have an amazing day.
Thanks, Andrew.
I'm going to take a couple of quick questions. Some of you guys had some questions. I do need to connect. I don't think she's on right now, but I got a couple of you that I still need to connect with. Some of you have emailed me. This was a weekend because of Mother's Day. I tried to unplug a little bit, so I've got some of you to reach back out to. So